Hey folks, Quillyteen here, and welcome to another episode of our Project Caprica series for Unity, in which we try to make a 4X-based strategy game. We are now at the point where we've got some stars that generate in a star field. I mean, they're not particularly pretty or sexy, but that's okay, that's fine. And what we want to do in this episode is I want to make it so that when you click on a star, actually we might want to wire up a zoom button because clicking on a star might be a little bit difficult. But the thing is, when we click on a star, I want to open a system view, which right now we technically have as a placeholder, but it doesn't do anything. Well, that's true. We actually have a whole window as a placeholder. I forgot about that. So we want that to open up and, in theory, link to the star system we're looking at. Now, there's a few interesting things to consider for this that have long-term implications. In particular, we might be in a situation where we have like multiple different windows that could open up. We've got a star system, and then at the bottom there'll be, a list of ships. If we're copying Master of Orion 2 as a style, there'll be a list of fleets in the system. There'll also be planets that we can click on. Now, opening a planet will open probably an entire other colony view, assuming it's colonized. If it's not colonized, well, clicking on it probably won't do anything. Maybe you can mouse over, and there'll be maybe like a little information panel that opens up in here as you mouse over, or something like that, or some sort of tooltip. We will see how that goes. But clicking on a fleet might open a sub window. Who knows, right? There could be lots of things. And so do we need some sort of window management system? In particular, for the colony view, one of the things that's going to happen, so basically on our star prefab over here, we're going to have some sort of component, and it's really just going to be something like clickable star or something like that, something to handle the star being clicked on. We do always have the issue of how do we want to organize our click handling? Do you want a central mouse manager, or do you want individual scripts that respond to on mouse click overs? Now, I've said before, and I'll say it a million times, having individual scripts all handle their clicks like that is usually a really, really bad idea. In this case, things might be slightly different. In any case, we do want some sort of component on here so that we've got something that we can test against. So, it might literally, let's call it clickable star. I don't know. Sure, why not? To differentiate, maybe we'll have background stars that just look pretty and they're clearly in a different layer. I don't know, something like this. Seems like a fairly good way to start. Again, we can rename things and whatever as we decide that something else is going on. And again, I'm going to apologize for the fact that we don't yet have a GitHub, because GitHub, as I'm recording this, is still having an issue. Like, it just won't work right now. But they're working on it. They know. So, but again, by the time you watch this, I'm apologizing. By the time you watch this, it'll be up on Git. I'm just really frustrated right now. I'm fine. Anyway. So we got this clickable star script that we may not do anything with. Again, we'd have something like on mouse click, yada, yada, yada. But the danger with that is, I don't know, it just leads to all kinds of issues, and it does require that our star have certain things. Now, I think our prefab actually will have everything that we need with I don't know, some sort of sphere collider. But do we want that? Not really. Stars shouldn't have any sort of collider on them because they're not physics objects. I don't know. I guess we'll leave it on there for now. It's going to be okay. Probably, first of all, just having it be a trigger makes a lot more sense. So maybe we put an on-click handler here, or maybe we do some sort of behavior and visual update. Like, it tends to just be better that you have some sort of manager that in its update checks to see if you click down and then does a raycast to see how things go. In particular, this is going to be important for things like being able to possibly check various layers of things that you want to be able to ignore or whatnot for the raycasting. It's probably better to do it here. So I think I will. We will do something like, yeah, very much like that. So, do we check for on mouse down or on mouse up? There's lots of different things. I think what we'll do for this is, and I may want to move this. I mean, Galaxy visuals, anything in your visual layer can certainly, I would say, be a legit target for UI interaction. And you want to try to segregate these various tasks as much as possible. But we have one whole area for our data and one whole layer for handling the user side, both showing the user stuff and accepting input. So I think it's fine that we do this, although I could see having some sort of other mouse mode manager that maybe gets referenced or something down the line. In any case, we're going to say something like, so this is the current state. I guess if the mouse button went down this frame, up is usually the way you do it. So if the left click went up this frame. Mouse was clicked. Is it on a star? To do, ignore clicks if over a UI element. Now, if we'd gone and implemented our stars themselves as sort of UI elements, then there might be some stuff to do there. We could implement the eye, mouse, click, yada, yada, yada kind of behaviors. There's, as always, a million different ways to do things, and we might end up changing this up later on, but for now, this is going to be fine. So we're just going to do some sort of raycast from our camera. So we need a couple of things. We'll need array. So, and from this we can do camera.main. Do note that camera.main is slightly slow in a sense. It does some stuff behind the scenes, so you might want to cache the main camera. Again, if you have errors with camera.main looks for the first camera in the scene. Compile. The first camera in the scene with the main camera tag, which, you know, if for some reason you don't have the main camera tag, you'll get errors there. I get emails about that all the time. And so there's all kinds of different reasons you might want to have it be a link here, you know, some sort of public camera, etc., or some sort of fine or whatever. We'll just do this for now and figure it out later. Maybe later on we'll have multiple cameras and, you know, so anyway. So we want to take a screen point and turn it into array. And our screen point is going to be input.mouse position. Like that. So the mouse position is the position of the mouse on the screen in, I think it returns pixels. Because I think the viewport, if you get a viewport position, then it's 0 to 1. But I think the mouse position is in pixels. So that's fine. Screen point to array. So we've got that. And we'll want to have a raycast hit info, which you tend to call hit point because that's how all of the examples, I think, use that for. And then we're going to do something like if physics dot raycast. I guess raycast all is fine. There's different reasons we might want to use one or another. If we use a layer mask that only stars are on, and we may want to do that. Okay, so what am I pausing here? So raycast returns the first thing that the ray hits. And it's possible that the user's trying to click on a star, but there's something just in front of it, and it returns that instead. And the thing is, sometimes we may want that thing to block the raycast, and sometimes we may want it to not block the raycast. I think as long as we're bailing out, right, if we click and we're over a UI element and we just return right away or whatever, I think in every other case, we're going to want to successfully find the star that we return, that we're actually over. Now, we can still use raycast, which returns the first object we click on, as long as we have all the stars on their own layer, which would also be fairly optimal. And I think that would be fine. Now, if you are going to use raycast all, which returns everything that the ray hits, you know, even if it's otherwise blocked, and a lot of times you want that for various reasons, you may want to consider doing raycast non-alloc, which requires that you set up a array ahead of time, but doesn't generate as much like sort of memory and things. I think we can use the regular raycast here, but we're going to need a filter. So what we're going to want to do is our stars over here, we're going to want to give them a layer. So let's go ahead and add a layer, which is just going to be for clickable stars, okay? So we have a new layer, clickable stars, and we have to make sure to apply that to this prefab over here, done. Yeah, change all the children, that's totally okay, like that. So it's going to be on its own layer, and what we want to do over here in our Galaxy visuals, we want some sort of public layer mask, which is going to be called something like clickable stars layer mask. It's a bit wordy, but you guys know me. I like my verbose variables, and that's going to be cool. So our Galaxy visuals, as soon as it compiles, or it won't because we have, hang on, compile. Can hide these star prefabs. There we go. layer mask. So we're going to want to click clickable stars. Okay. So then when we do our raycast here, yeah, I mean, yes, we're going to pass array, but that's not the only thing. We do want the hit info out. I want, yes, this version here. So we pass the hit info. I think I have to use the word out over there. Yeah. And not max dist. Oh, yeah, layer mask. So we can pass our, what's it called? Clickable stars layer mask in here. Now, technically this wants an int, but this will auto-convert between the layer mask type object and an integer. Unless I'm wrong, but I'm never wrong. I think that's going to be okay. Oh, it's not hit point, it's hit info. Yeah, there we go. There's something that didn't feel right about that. So this will return true or false if it hit anything. So if it's true, then we hit something. We hit something, and that something can only be a clickable star, because we ignore everything else, which I think is fine. Again, we bail early for clicking over our UI element. Otherwise, we just check for this. So we'll tell you, we'll do a little thing. We want clickable star CS is equal to hit info dot. I guess I can't, I need to do something like get the game object. Or it's the collider. Yeah, collider dot get component in parent, which is clickable star. So whatever collider we hit, we want to find the clickable star component on that. Now, keep in mind, the thing we hit, the collider, is actually not going to be on the game object where our clickable star is, because our collision box is on the sphere over here, because you want the collider to be the same shape as your model. So whatever the object that has your model, your graphics are, that's usually where you're going to want your collider, just because visually they're supposed to sort of work the same. And so it makes sense, because then control size and everything gets scaled the right way and everything like that. So what we're going to hit is this sphere over here. But what we want is the clickable star, which is on our parent. So by using this, which didn't used to be built in, and it's funny because there's still examples in the Unity documentation that have you write your own version of this, but this is all built in now, which is great. It actually does search itself first, so it's a little deceptive. It says get component and parent, but it will check the local game object itself first for this, and then if it doesn't have it, it'll go up the tree until it finds something that does. So it'll do that. If for some reason this is null, we've done something really stupid and bad. So if CS is equal to null, like we could throw exceptions, we can do all sorts of things. We'll just log error, like our star doesn't have a clickable star component. That's possible I've written something wrong here and we'll get this error, but hopefully we don't. Okay, so you got that, and then we can, I don't know, just bail out of this. Do we just return out of update completely? I mean, there might theoretically be some other stuff, but you know what? There's an error somewhere. We can just definitely just bail out completely. Okay, that's okay. So if we get to here, we've got a clickable star that's got some stuff going on, which is cool. So what I'm going to do for now is go debug.log clicked star plus cs.name. And I mean, they're all called star1 right now, but that's okay. And let's see how many mistakes I've made writing this code. Click an empty space. Nothing. Click on a star. Oh, there it is. They're hard to click on because they're tiny, but it's working. Okay, cool. How did I not make a mistake? I always make mistakes when I write this kind of code. All right, that's fine. So yeah, we'll do some other to-dos and everything like that. And it's hard to click on because they're quite far. Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom in the camera a fair bit. So just to make it a little easier for testing to be able to click on a star because they'll be bigger. I don't have to be pixel perfect. There it is. Okay, good. And one of the things you might want to do is actually make the hitbox for the star larger than the visuals for it. That might actually be a really, really good idea, especially if the star's got name tags. You might want that to be part of the clickable system as well. I mean, anything is fine as long as it has, if it's part of the clickable star's layer mask, then it can be hit by this, and as long as it's a child of some, the part of this, right? So if we go to our stars over here and we add a text label, that's not how we want to do it. What's the easiest way to do this? Look, here, we'll drop it into the scene, for example. And oh, this is another good example of like more canvases is perfectly fine. Yeah, so put a little UI in here, and what this is going to have is a canvas that's, I guess, going to be world space, which it does automatically. Hey, really? Oh, that's quite spiffy. I think one of the things you're supposed to do is also always set the event camera. There's all sorts of optimizations for it, but we'll look into that further in the future. And put some fancy text in here, which I need to actually import. This will be our first time actually using TextMesh Pro in some videos as well, which is going to be nice. Whoa, that is big. We don't need the samples and extras. That's going to be fine. We can make this like much smaller. Well, there's just something like this, and then font size and blah and whatever. I didn't actually want to get into this too much right now. I just want to get a little bit of text. Like this, we'll want to align it differently. Let's see. There you go. Just kind of under like that. We can move, all kinds of things with the anchors and whatnot. I don't know, somewhere around there. That looks kind of vaguely okay. So if we go and apply this here, and it's in the clickable stars layer, we may have to do something else to actually make this clickable. All kinds of different things we can do with this, but if we go and kill that and say view and play, then each of our stars will have a little label. Excellent. And yeah, this is not clickable. We'll have to do something for that, but that's okay. Boom, 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 boom. And actually, we might not want to bail out of the layer, or we might want to have some different sort of code for this. Actually, if you're using a canvas at this point, then we could potentially just make sort of an invisible button that's over the star and have that be the clickable element, which would actually work out fairly well. We had a bunch of different possible options. But anyway, we now click on a star. Hooray! Okay, so here's the slightly trickier part to consider. When we click on a star, what we want to do is we want to reveal the system view. Now, how do we do that? Now, again, what I would normally like to do is have a script on this specifically, and I think we're going to want something like that. I mean, it could be on all the child stuff. I don't think that's going to be okay. We'll have a script on this called system view. That's going to be fine. And what I would like to be able to do in my heart of hearts, there we go, is to be able to say something like game object dot find object of type system view. Now, because this is not something we do every frame, we don't have to really worry about catching it. That's not the problem. And then, set game object dot set active true or something like this, right? So this will go into the hierarchy, find the first object that's got a system view component on it, and then we'll do some stuff. The problem is you can't find stuff if it's not active. One of the things you could do is you could have things start in such a way where your system view script, okay, it's not opening. That's fine. There we go. So, right, well, we've done stuff like this before. You have a static, public, instance. You could have of system view. You could have this be a property so that it self-instantializes and everything, which is okay. And at start, you say something like, "Oh, instance is this," and then set active. Game object dot set active false, right? So start doesn't run on things that aren't active, so you could have it be where this starts active. Come on, compile. There you go. It starts active, you hit play, it registers itself with the static, and then hides itself, and then the rest of your game code everywhere else can always just do something like, oh, I need system view dot instance, and then do some stuff. Right? And that's perfectly fine, except Well, I mean, there's a few things that are maybe, unideal with this, but part of the issue is it means in your editor you've always got to work with this window being open all the time, which I hate. I just want to do this. So then we got the problem that we can't really easily find this. And I think at this point what we want to do is implement some sort of window manager or something of that nature, right? We had a slightly similar thing going on with what? There was something else we had to find. Oh, yeah, the Galaxy visuals over here. Right, so our universe manager needed to have a reference to the Galaxy visuals in the last episode so that on finishing generating the Galaxy, it could call Galaxy visuals dot, whatever, initiate or whatever we have it called. And the reason we wanted to put in a direct link here to the Galaxy visuals is because we weren't sure if the Galaxy view even started off enabled, in which case we might not be able to find everything, right? It certainly might be an idea that while the Galaxy is being generated, which might take a moment, what if everything was turned off and we had some sort of loading screen enabled that was like, okay, generating the Galaxy, progress bar, progress bar, progress bar, and when it's done, it hides the loading sort of interface and enables the Galaxy view. So in the meantime, it's not actually enabled. So we have this link, and I knew that I was going to be making a modification of this because we're going to have a lot of these little windows, and self-registration's unfortunately not going to be an easy thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new object here called Window Manager. I mean, it's sort of View Manager. Actually, View Manager is probably okay because not everything's a window. So View Manager like this, and I'm going to create a new component for it called View Manager. And that's going to be fine and hunky-dory. And compile is going to do this. Now, one of the things it's going to do is stuff like this public Galaxy visuals. No, we're going to move this over to here like that. And we'll have a public system view like that. And so on and so forth. Now, the view manager is going to do more than just be a repository of this info, but one of its jobs will be to do that, but it'll also possibly be responsible for opening and closing windows and doing all kinds of things like this. Now, the view manager will always be enabled, and for convenience, it will be very nice if we've got sort of a public static in a view manager instance, okay, which tell you what, we'll do get and a protected set, and that's going to be okay. We need to make sure that this is set right at the start of the program before even the first frame runs, which is why we're not going to use void start. Instead, we'll have a void on enable, and it's going to be responsible for setting instance equals this. On enable runs the second something gets enabled, including on scene load, whereas start only runs before the first update, before the first frame. So on enable runs faster. Now, there's other things we could do, on responding to a scene load or some other thing that makes sure this runs even sooner. We may have to look into something like that, because the important thing is that this gets set before anything else starts to get involved. This would be maybe a little easier if we, again, if it was a sort of a standard Unity object or something like that, or sorry, a standard C# class that we were static and we can make sure it ran, basically at program load, but these things may not even exist at program load. It really has to be at scene load. Anyway, I'm going off the rails here, but this should hopefully be relatively okay. So now that we have the view manager, compile. I mean, you should compile. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean, I know you're broken. Why are you showing up over here? Meh. Okay, let me fix this other thing. So instead what we have is view manager dot instance dot what was it? Galaxy visuals. Like this. View manager, instance, Galaxy visuals, initiate visuals. And probably the view manager will have all sorts of things for like opening and closing windows, knowing which view is active, and probably managing the escape button. right? That's going to be a big thing. We're going to have some sort of system. If input.get key up, key code dot escape, back out of views one step at a time. If in the master view, Galaxy, then instead open the game menu, right? So you're hitting escape, sort of back, close all the windows, click, 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 until you get back to the main view. If you hit escape again, then it opens the game menu for you, so you can, save, load, quit, that sort of thing. And that's probably going to be responsible over here. So it'll have to know windows that get opened. We'll probably have some sort of little helper for that or something of that nature. In fact, the Universe Manager, like initiate visuals, is different from opening the window. So it's probably something like public void show view I'm feeling like these things should probably be descended from some sort of parent something or other. We could also just pass a game object, which would be okay, because that's really sort of all it is in a sense. Something like that. There'll be more stuff in here later on. But this sort of idea. So, Galaxy visuals. I mean, that's fine here, over here. Yeah. Now, you. Right. There you are. I don't know why that wasn't there before. So Galaxy visuals, system view. So the idea is we register all the views that can be interacted with that way over here, and then we've got a nice centralized way to do it. There are other ways to have things self-register. That would be kind of interesting. But I think we'll hold off for now. So that's going to be okay-ish over here. Right, we don't actually open the view yet. So let's make sure that I get that done. So we can click. We get the response. If I click right, there we go. You're complaining that something's not set over here. System view, game object set active. Really? Object reference not sent to an instance. Oh, right. Because here, this was the system view that doesn't work. We can't find a system view because it's not visible. So instead, what we want to do is view manager dot instance. Instance dot show view. And what view is it? Well, it's the view manager dot instance dot system view, like that. Dot game object. If I say something like we just want a mono behavior, then I can say something like, so this is view component. And it can be view component dot game object dot set active. There we go. Because all those views are descended from something in common, mono behavior. I mean, it's not a very picky thing, admittedly, but it's there. And then Galaxy visuals to click, so we can just say this: instance show view, instance system view. And there's almost certainly a slightly less redundant way to do this, but that's okay. We could also do things with types over here. That might be very cool, types and generics and things. But let's give this a try and see where we are. Run, click, there you go. And then this view opens up like that. And now we've got a nice little view manager, which I think we're going to do a lot of work to make this cooler. But the important thing is that, you know, we've got this base of like, yeah, this is how we're going to be interacting with these views. And I think that's going to be very potent. All right. Thanks for watching another episode, folks. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you to all the October patrons who make these videos possible, including these mic check supporters: Yoko Finn, Eric Sumner, Adam Keenan, Danny Welch, Tiburon, Mighty Mix, Pavel Zdanov, Michael McClintock, Aaron Tyson, Rorskal, Gurko Dries, TNSEE, Jasper Bisgard, Julien Gelafon, Marius Fieldvold, Speedy Savant, Steven Stager, Thomas Oberson, Jason Yanity, Stephen Bonnerman, Easter Egg Productions, and Neil Blakely Milner, as well as everyone who likes, favorites, and subscribes to these videos. Thank you very, very much.